Hello viewers, welcome back. So far in this video series, you have seen how to protect our systems against any attacks, what are the various ways by which attackers may get access to our systems, and how to be safe against those. In the coming two videos, I'm going to show you what exactly is digital forensics all about. How do we actually capture data from a suspect's hard drive, and how do we analyze those evidences that we have captured. So in this video, the objective of our experiment is we are going to explore forensic tools in Kali Linux for acquiring, analyzing and duplicating data. For that, we are going to make use of these four open source tools. First of all, DD, which stands for Data Duplicator, then dcfldd, which is 99% similar to DD but few additional advantages over DD. Then comes the analysis tools. The very first two tools, that is DD and dcfldd, are basically going to be used for acquiring the evidences. The next tools, Foremost and Scalpel, are basically for analysis and recovering of the data. So let me give you a scenario. You are a digital forensic investigator and you are assigned a task of capturing whatever evidences you can from a particular crime scene. Now there is a computer in front of you which is the suspect's computer, and you would like to acquire all the evidences from that computer without doing any damage to it. Now, whenever I'm saying damage, I simply mean without changing the contents of that particular computer. So for doing so, you might have multiple options in your mind, but the best option would be to get an image of that particular hard drive and carry out all the analysis at your own workstation. In simple terms, you don't need to do any sort of analysis on that computer itself. Otherwise, you will end up doing some changes to the suspect's hard drive and you will end up losing some vital evidences. So to avoid that, we must actually take the image or a copy of that particular hard disk, carry it to your workstation and then perform all the analysis on your computer. In this way, we'll make sure that no evidence is tampered with, right? So for that to happen, the first two tools are going to be used. That is DD, which stands for Data Duplicator, and second is dcfldd, which is nothing but Department of US Defense Computer Forensic Lab DD version, right? And then comes the tools Foremost and Scalpel. So I will start off with what exactly is DD, and then I will move on towards all of these things. Keeping the time constraints in mind, we can't actually carry out the whole investigation process on a target hard drive which might be in the range of 500 GBs minimum to 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, etc. So to keep it simple, I am making use of a small hard disk which was available on the internet as an image file. I have taken that image file and I will share it with you all in the description section. It's hardly of 5 MBs in size. I have taken that file for reference. In real practice, the exact same process can be carried out for real hard disks as well. Okay, so before starting, let me show you the file. This is the file which I have created. In fact, I have got it from the open source libraries on the internet. I have just renamed it and made some modifications. So I will provide this file to you. You can do all the evidence gathering, analysis, investigation on this particular file without any loss. So for this to actually take place, I have obviously my workstation, my virtual workstation, which is Kali over here. So again, I would request you to install Kali Linux because it not only is restricted to performing these experiments. If you have an intention of learning more and more about ethical hacking, then do install the Kali Linux OS. I am using Kali Linux in VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox. You can either use VMware. All the images are available on the internet. Still, I would provide you some links from where you can download this particular version. I am not using version 2020 because I actually found some glitches in the version 2020 while performing these experiments. So I am reverting back to the more stable version, which is 2019 version of Kali Linux. So once you have installed Kali Linux, what you need to do is, before actually starting off your machine, just go to Settings tab. Inside Settings, go to Storage. Once you are in storage, your system might look somewhat different than mine. What I am doing is I am actually adding the evidence drive which I had just now shown to you, the lecture.vdi file, as a USB source. So it is nothing but like an external USB pen drive I am inserting into my computer. So all this is done virtually. So in your case, this entire interface will look slightly different. So what I will do is I will quickly reset this Kali Linux machine and I will start it from scratch just to show it to you how it happens. So just for the sake of doing it again from scratch, I have again installed this Kali Linux machine. This is my second version of Kali Linux. So let me show it to you how exactly we can set up our evidence drive on this Kali Linux machine. So go to settings, again do the same task, go to storage, and now you can see the green bars are highlighted. So now what you need to do is you need to click on this bottommost left green bar, green plus button, click on it, and there will be an option USB. Just click on the USB button, and now you need to click on this add hard disk button over here. When you click on it, it will give you the option of selecting the hard disk. In my case, I already have the hard disk installed over here. What you need to do is you need to click on this add and then select your hard disk and then press enter. If I do it right now, it will give me an error. Let me show you. Because I already have the same hard disk present over here, as you can see, lecture.vdi. So what you need to do is, for you it will be from scratch. In my case, I already have the hard disk. So I will select this lecture1.vdi. So now as you can see, it is already set up. So this is the only setup you need to do. Everything else is same. Now click on OK and it will be done. Now what you need to do is, I will now go back to my actual Kali machine because it is already having all the setup installed. So let me quickly fire it up, and then I will show you how exactly you are going to start off with this experiment. Okay. So very first thing, as I had already shown it to you, that we need to first of all take the image file of the hard disk. In our case, we are having a hard disk of size only 4 MB, 3 to 4 MB, but in practice it will be in terms of GBs or terabytes. So it is obviously going to take a lot of time to copy the entire hard disk. Okay, so to make the process simpler, just to avoid any manual copying process, these tools have been introduced. The first one is DD, that is data duplicator. As already explained, that is what we are going to start off with. So the very first command that we need to fire is, first of all, let me delete all these folders from here. First of all, let me just bring it back to the initial state, and then I will start off with the actual experiment. So the first thing that you need to do is, what you need to do is you need to first of all perform data duplication. Before data duplication, you first of all need to check which are the hard drives attached to your computer. So before typing DD, you need to type in fdisk space -L. Fdisk will actually list all the hard drives attached to your computer. As you can see, this is the data hard disk which is of importance to us. It is SDB1. Now as you can see, the dev/SDB1 is our actual evidence drive. So now we need to copy this evidence drive basically into an image. So first task is we have to convert this evidence drive. We are assuming that this evidence drive is having n number of top secret information. The suspect might have performed n number of tasks on that computer, and we need to take a copy of the entire activities. For this to happen, we need the help of this tool which is called as DD. So the command is like this: DD space input file. Input file is nothing but the file name. In this case, the partition, which is dev/SDB1 space. I'm going to show you something. Have a look over here. I'm going to take the hash of this file. Now, how to take the hash and why do we actually take the hash? Basically, a hash is taken just to make sure that your evidence file is not tampered with. Now, how to do it? Just have a look at the start location. What you need to do is you need to type in BS, that is the base space starting address, is equal to 2048. Then the symbol followed by MD5 sum. Now, once you enter this, execute it, a copy of that particular file will be created. So basically what you are doing is you are actually starting from this location 2048 till the partition is ending, and you are taking the hash of this entire process. This is nothing but this is your MD5 hash of your evidence. Now what you need to do is you need to save the output of this entire process into a image file, it can be a raw DD file, or it can be any IMG file. So for that purpose, you have to again enter the command, but this time you don't need the MD5. What you need an output file. OF is equal to, give a name of the output file. For example, in my case, it would be evidence DD. It's up to you whether you want to give some extension to it, for example, IMG, or you would like to keep it simple as that. Press enter. Now, as you can see, these are the records which have been copied. Okay, and this is the file. You can see this much bytes of data has been created. Now, if you want to match the hash of this particular file, you simply need to type in MD5 sum space the name of this file, which is evidence DD. Press enter. Now, if you want to see, you can compare this with this. They are identical without any change. It simply means that during copying or during the process of creating the evidence image, there is no tampering present over here. In real life also, we take the hash values just after creating the evidence, and whenever we start our analysis process, then also we take a hash just to make sure that there is no sort of evidence tampering done during the transit or during handling of the evidences. Clear? This was just an extra step which I wanted to show it to you, right? So once you're done, you just go to the places over here, to home, and you can see this is the file which is now being created for you. So our first task is done, that is, we have taken the image file with the help of DD. So basically we have duplicated the evidence drive using DD command. The same thing we are going to do, but now this time with the help of dcfldd. Everything else remains the same. So let me copy this code for you and let me show you to you how exactly it differs in the case of dcfldd and why dcfldd is better as compared to DD. So the command is dcfldd followed by the same thing, that is if and this particular thing, OF. So if is again /dev/sdb1 followed by OF. Now we know that hashing works properly, so I'm not again showing the same thing over and over again. You know what is hashing, what is MD5. The same way you can do it over here also. So OF will be, now I'm giving it a name as evidence dcfldd and press enter. The only thing over here which differentiates DD from dcfldd is the size of the file and the entries which are being copied. Over here you can see there were 6,111 records, but over here there are only 95 plus 1 records. Simply means that dcfldd is more efficient as compared to DD. DD creates the entire image bit by bit, but in case of dcfldd, it creates a qualified forensic duplicate instead of a forensic duplicate, which focuses on only the bits which are present. The absent bits are simply ignored. That is why it is more efficient as compared to DD. DD was intentionally created not for the sake of forensic duplication, it was just created for the sake of data duplication, which was later on modified according to forensic investigators' need. So this is dcfldd. Let me show you the files created. As you can see, this evidence file has just now been created with the help of dcfldd. So half of the experiment is done. We have seen how to create the evidence files, how to create images out of those evidence files, and our next task begins from here. We have to actually start recovering the data or start the analysis process with the help of these tools, which are Foremost and Scalpel. Let me explain the command first. The same thing we are going to replicate in our terminal. Foremost space -v, -v stands for verbose, -t space all space -i stands for the input. Input is nothing but the image file which we have just now created. We can either use the DD file or the dcfldd file, whichever you deem fine, whichever you find suitable. No issues with that. Space -o. -o stands for the output file, and over here we are giving the path of that output file, which will be basically present inside a folder. So what we need to do is, let me go back to our terminal. Let me open a new shell for this particular process. what I need to type is foremost space minus v space minus t space all space minus I, then the input file. In our case, the file name is evidence dd, and then minus o for the output, which is nothing but I have to give the path for it. So I want it to be created on the desktop, and let me create a folder which is recovered foremost. So this entirely depends on you. So I'm just entering this and done. As you can see, I had actually gone for the minus v version. Minus v stands for verbose. So whichever process is happening, it will be documented. As you can see, this is nothing but the files which have been extracted. One thing I just forgot to show you is, let me actually show you the evidence drive, what it looks like, and then you will be able to compare it. These are the places, and this is my evidence drive of 3 MB. If I open this up, this evidence drive looks like this. It consists of a folder lecture. Inside the folder lecture, there are these 5 images. Fine. This is my evidence drive. So now, whatever foremost has recovered, let's click on it and see what exactly is present inside this folder. As you can see, it is having a folder called audit.txt. Audit.txt is nothing but it is the list of outputs which we have got. The same thing which were displayed on our terminal using the -v command. So we can close it. Our main interest lies over here. If I click this, as you can see, there are 7 pictures. So these 2 pictures are additional. How did they come from? Where did they come from actually? So as you can see, these images are those images which have been recovered from your evidence drive which were deleted. So in short, these are those deleted files which were actually present in your hard disk, but somehow either they got deleted in the process or the attacker might have deleted these files from the hard disk. So what actually happens is, foremost is recovering the deleted files also for you. So let me show you whether this file actually exists on my computer or not. So we are in my pictures, and as you can see, this file was actually present on my computer. I had copied this file in the drive, deleted that file from the drive, and made the evidence drive, and basically made the image of that drive. And whenever I am recovering that image using foremost, that particular file is also getting recovered. This is where foremost and the next tool, which is what we call as Scalpel, comes really handy for forensic investigation. Am I clear? In the same way, we are going to make use of Scalpel also. So Scalpel again is very similar. What you need to do is, this is the command for Scalpel. Scalpel space the file name. In our case, it is evidence dd -o space root desktop recover Scalpel. This is the folder name I want. Press enter, and as you can see over here, Scalpel is done. Files carved are 19. When I click on it, it is something like this. What it does is, Scalpel has an advantage over foremost. Scalpel has an option of selective carving. That is, you can select certain extension files. For example, over here I had opted for JPG as well as TIF. I will show you how to selectively carve the files. So that is why JPG files are stored inside a JPG folder and TIF files are stored inside a TIF folder. Let me click it for you, and these are the files. Only thing over here is, Scalpel by mistake, or I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally, can sometimes make multiple copies of the evidence. That is one of the drawbacks of Scalpel as compared to foremost. Otherwise, both the tools are exactly same. Now, finally, to end this entire experiment, entire video, let me just show you what is the advantage of Scalpel. As I had just now told you, Scalpel first of all has the option of selective carving. So for that, you need to go into this particular file over here, that is scalpel.conf or configuration file. What you need to do is go to your command prompt and type this particular command over there. It is nothing but nano. Let me recollect the file directory. It is etc then Scalpel, then Scalpel.conf if I'm not wrong. Does not exist. Okay, so I made some mistake in the directory. Let me check it once again. etc Scalpel. You just need to go to the location mentioned over here, that is etc Scalpel and Scalpel.configuration file. Then etc, then Scalpel and Scalpel.conf. This is the file I was talking about, and I want to make some changes over here. So to make the changes, wherever you are having those files, as you can see, this particular configuration file is nothing but this is from where you can selectively do your carving. As you can see, it has got different versions or different extensions of the files. For example, graphic files, GIF, JPG, you have to simply comment it or uncomment it depending upon whether you want to carve the data or not. Over here I have uncommented JPG, so I want JPG files to be carved or recovered. Similarly, I have unmarked or uncommented PNG, so I want those files also to be carved. In the same fashion, TIF is present over there, uncommented. That's why TIF files were present in my folder, because there might be some TIF files present inside the evidence drive which got recovered over here during the process. So this is how you can carry out evidence gathering and analysis part we are going to do in the next experiment with the help of tools such as autopsy. So I hope you would be able to carry out evidence gathering as well as recovering the data with the help of the tools such as Foremost and Scalpel. So take care, stay tuned for my next video in which we are going to actually see what is present inside those evidence drives with the help of tools such as autopsy. Thanks a lot.